Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make Copycat Lofthouse cookies. Hey Sugar Spun bakers, Sam here, and today I am so excited to be sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. This one took a long time to get just right. I wanted to recreate that classic, super popular grocery store cookie that everyone knows and loves, with that super soft and tender base and that sweet frosting. Like I said, it took a lot of work to get this one just right, but I'm super happy with it, and I think you will be too. Let's go ahead and get started. First, you're going to need a large mixing bowl, and in this mixing bowl, we are going to combine 1 cup of softened, unsalted butter with 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. You can use a stand mixer, but today I'm going to be using my electric hand mixer to cream these ingredients together until they're light and fluffy and well combined. I guess I should say light and creamy. They don't get super fluffy, but they should be really well combined. Next, we are going to add 1 large egg, and we are also going to add 1 large egg white. You can discard the yolk, you can save it for something else, but we just need the white from that second egg. We'll also add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract and stir everything together until it's nicely combined again. I always like to pause and scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl just to make sure all of the ingredients are well incorporated. All right, now set this aside, and in a separate mixing bowl, we'll combine 3 1/4 cups of cake flour, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Stir these ingredients together until they're well combined, and then bring back your butter mixture, and we are going to gradually add the flour mixture to the butter mixture until it's completely combined. All right, this is looking pretty good. So now I'm going to turn out this dough onto a piece of plastic wrap, and I'm going to form it into a disc. The dough is going to need to chill in the refrigerator for about 60 minutes before we can proceed with the recipe. Once your dough is just about finished chilling, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I have some dough that's already been chilling, so let's go ahead and transfer this to a clean, lightly floured surface. Now we're going to roll this out to be between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thick. So you can see my dough is cracking a little bit on the edges. I'm gonna keep going with it. It feels pretty soft. I think I'll be fine. But if your dough is just completely cracking and difficult to manage, it might just be a little bit too cold. Let it sit at room temperature for 10 minutes before proceeding. Now, as I'm rolling out the dough, I do like to pause periodically and take my spatula and just scrape it up. That way I can make sure it's not sticking to the counter, and then I'll lift it and just sprinkle a little bit more flour underneath. This is going to make it so much easier to pick up my cookies after I've cut them out. So our dough's looking pretty good here, so now I'm going to grab my cookie cutter, and I'm using a 2-inch cookie cutter. If you don't have one, you probably have a glass in your cabinet that you can use instead. Just turn it upside down and use that to cut out your cookies. We'll want to cut out our cookies as close together as we possibly can. And then we'll transfer these to a parchment paper lined baking sheet. Don't forget to regroup your scraps of cookie dough and re-roll those out to get as many cookies as possible out of this dough. You should get about 22 cookies. Now our cookies are not going to spread very much in the oven, but we do want to give them a little bit of breathing room on the cookie sheet, so space them about 2 inches apart. Once you've cut out as many cookies as you can fit on a baking sheet, we'll take this over to our preheated oven where they're going to need to bake for about 8 to 10 minutes. You do not want to overbake these cookies because if you do, they're going to be super dry and a little bit hard to bite into. Now we do not want to put our frosting on our cookies until they have cooled completely, but while the cookies are cooling, we can go ahead and start preparing that frosting. The frosting is also super simple. In a large mixing bowl, we're going to combine 3/4 cup of softened, unsalted butter. And once again, I'm going to use my electric mixer to cream this together until it's nice and smooth. Now here I have measured out 2 1/4 cups of powdered sugar. I'm going to add just about half of this in with my butter. And I'm also going to add a tablespoon of light corn syrup, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and just a pinch of table salt. This is a little bit under 1/8 teaspoon. Now I'm going to stir everything together until it's completely combined and all of that sugar has been absorbed. Now we'll gradually add the rest of our sugar until this is completely combined and we have a nice smooth frosting. Now, if you'd like, you can add a little bit of food coloring to today's recipe. When I think Lofthouse cookies, I think pink cookies. So today I'm just going to be adding a small drop of, this is my electric pink food coloring. We'll stir this in. And as you can see, just a little bit gives you a really nice bright color. Now you could just spread this icing directly on the cookies, but what I like to do is I like to put it in a piping bag fitted with a large open tip, and then I'm just going to pipe it on the cookies. Let me show you how we go ahead and do that. I just hold the bag vertically and then I just squeeze it on in a nice even layer. You don't want a super thick layer of icing, and this recipe makes just enough to cover every one of your cookies evenly, so don't overdo it. Plus the frosting is pretty sweet, so you want to keep the layer fairly thin. And of course with these cookies, sprinkles are key, so we're going to add a few of those on top as well. And that is how easy it is to make my version of these Copycat Lofthouse cookies. I really do think you guys are going to love them. They took a lot of attempts to get just right. If you try them out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think, because I really do always love hearing from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. You're gonna love them.